Good afternoon and welcome to the first mini coaching session. So I just want to go a little deeper into everything that I've posted this week because there's a lot that can be gotten out of those bits, and I just want to give you a bit of support and structure if you want to go a bit deeper into it. I might be looking to the side, so take no notice. I have a few pointers written out. And if you have any questions or if you want to say hello or anything like that, please do interact. I'd only be delighted. So yeah, I'll get going. So the first thing I posted this week was life lessons, and it's been a while since I did those. It was kind of last year I started them, and I just sat down one day and I wrote out a load of different lessons that I'd learned in my life, and they kind of inform my coaching practice as well, more the personal development side of things when I'm supporting people with that as opposed to coaching, because when I'm coaching I try to be as non-directive as possible. In coaching, every coach is taught, I suppose, well, not every coach, but most of the coaching diplomas that people do, they go on the coactive coaching model. So that promotes and teaches that every client that we come across is creative, resourceful and whole, and that you don't have to be, coaching isn't giving out advice, it isn't being directive, it's being non-directive. So I try to keep that in mind as much as possible. But often, a client of mine might have a life situation that I may have gone through before, or that I may have, some bit of valuable experience to offer, and I would say that, but there would be no onus on them to take that as advice or me telling them what to do. That's not the case at all. So with the life lessons, I felt there was a lot of value in them, so I decided to do one once a week last year, and then the coronavirus hit and I didn't have the mind to do it, to continue it, and there was an awful lot going on and people's emotions were high, and I just felt it wouldn't be adding value to people's lives for that nearly a whole year. But I feel things are hopefully getting better now, and now is the time to continue it on. So the first reboot of my life lessons was value who and what you are. And I should have said in that, value who and what you are now, because that's what's most important. It's not valuing who and what you were or who and what you will be. It's about valuing who and what you are now. And that can be broken down then into two different parts. So valuing who you are would be your personality, it would be what you stand for, and it would be what you've achieved in your life, and taking those and valuing them, valuing the person that you are. And you can increase the value that you hold for yourself by looking at who you are, by building your self-awareness, by reflecting on the experiences that you've had and how you've got through them. And that can be really powerful in your life to do those exercises and self-reflections, because I know when I've done it before, when I've looked back at all the things that I've been through in my life, I've said to myself, I'm a really strong person, and I've identified that, and I feel proud of myself that I've got myself through those bits and pieces, and obviously glad that I've other people around me to support me as well. But at the end of the day, only you can get yourself through difficult experiences and challenges in life, so you should value that. And everybody goes through difficult and challenging times in their lives, so nobody can say, oh, I haven't been through anything. Everybody has. That is the nature of life, I think, anyway. So then valuing what you are. So I would break that down into we are mind, body and spirit. Some people might be a bit iffy about the spiritual part, and that's absolutely fine. But to me anyway, I am a mind, body and spirit, and valuing who that is, valuing my mind, valuing my body and my spirit are all different activities that I try to do, or actions that I try to take. So let's take the mind. So I do a lot of personal development work, I do a lot of self-reflection and mindset work. I regularly check in with myself. How am I feeling? What are my predominant thoughts? And I make sure that, I'm speaking to myself in a kind, gentle way as much as possible. I check in with any resistance that I might be feeling, any challenges that I might be having. And again, making sure that I'm being kind to myself. That's how I kind of work on my mindset and the mind part of it. Body-wise then, so look, goes without saying, eating healthy, exercising, they're all natural parts of looking after your body. But I think as well it's really important to have a good relationship with your body as much as you can. I know that's not possible for everybody, but just even set the intention of improving your relationship with your body. Our bodies are an intelligent organism, and they sustain our lives, they enable our freedom. The amount of processes and mind-blowing things that go on in our bodies every second of the day, not mind every minute and every day, is mind-blowing, and it's like we've just no awareness of it. And I haven't always valued my body. I've struggled like everybody else, but I did come to a point, in the last few years where I realised that my body is amazing. The things that it does, the potential in it as well, especially as a woman and childbearing and all of that. It's amazing, and our bodies deserve to be honoured by us. So, and the different processes that go on, like, our mind affects our body affects our mind. So it's really good to have a strong relationship between the two and to be aware of what's going on between the two. And spirituality then, or, your spirit, what are your beliefs? What is your faith? And how can you strengthen that and have it so that it empowers you and that it makes you happy and makes you joyful and peaceful. So they're all different things that you could look into. I'm not saying you have to do any of that, but they're all things that would benefit you. So that's kind of the first part of valuing who and what you are. It's really about getting to know yourself so that you can value those qualities. And it's about getting to know your likes and your dislikes, your behaviour patterns, your emotional triggers. All those kind of things will really benefit you in the sense of when they come up, then you can say, okay, or you can have a plan behind it, and you can say, right, when this emotional trigger comes up, I'm going to do this. And instead of reacting to something, then you're able to take positive action. As opposed to being on autopilot, not liking our bodies, not being aware of what our self-talk is like or what our mindset is like, and having a very bleak outlook in terms of beliefs and spirituality and all of that. I've been there, and it wasn't a nice experience. And I can say from the position that I'm in now, having worked on all of those things and really valuing who I am now, my life is an awful lot better, and the quality of life has improved massively, phenomenally. So it's well worth it. So that was the first part of this week's posting. So the life lesson, value who you are, who and what you are. And just to add that bit, value it now. And the reason that I say now as well is because sometimes we say to ourselves, right, I'll be happy when I have this, when I'm being this, when I'm doing this. But that's not living in the present moment. That's all very conditional. So what's going to help you to decide and to choose to value who you are and what you are right now? And they're the things that you could be looking into. So moving on, the next one we had was valuing my values, and this week's value was empowerment. So I look at empowerment, I value it greatly. As I mentioned in the post, within my business, I'm all about empowering people. It's something that I really love doing through coaching and through personal development. It's something I'm really passionate about. And even the people around me, I don't force myself or force empowerment on the people around me, but if they come to me for advice, or if someone's going through a tough time and we talk it out and I listen to them, that's all empowerment. Empowerment is about empowering yourself and others. And I suppose personal power is really tied in with that value as well. So, but that's all my kind of experience of it. That's my perception of it. Empowerment might mean something very different to you. And it's kind of up to you to look into, what does empowerment look like in your life? What does it feel like? And how can you bring more of it into your life? So what I do with my coaching clients when we're discussing a value is we first of all identify the value, and we talk about what does it look like in their lives. And then what I love doing with people, it's something I learned very early on in my coaching diploma, is I ask them to give it a score. So say, for example, empowerment is a core value in your life, and I ask them, how satisfied are you with this value on a scale of 1 to 10? So 10 being the most satisfied and 1 being the least satisfied. So say, for example, if someone said empowerment is a 5 in my life at the moment, I would then be asking, what would make it a 10? So that kind of opens up a whole new avenue of potential and a whole new perspective and way of thinking. What would make it a 10? What would bring more empowerment into my life? What actions could I take towards that? And they're all the things now that you can ask yourself going forward with that value, because I'm sure it's something a lot of people do value. And it might not be a core value, it might be a lesser value as well, but it's still worth looking into. I mentioned personal power, and when I mention personal power and boundaries are very tied in together. So if you're talking about personal power, you're talking about how much of it you have within, how much of it are you giving away, and that's where boundaries come in then. So I'll be going into boundaries later on through this series, but just to say that if you feel that somebody is kind of overpowering you or overstepping the boundaries in some way, that means that you need to look at your boundaries and see what needs a bit of firming up, what is acceptable to you and what isn't, and what are you tolerating that might need to change, that you might need to face head on and have a bit of honest communication or direct communication with someone about. As I said, that's something I'm going to be kind of looking into down the line. But coming back to empowerment, I've given you lots of different questions there that you can kind of look into and explore that a bit further. And just to say that with this series, the mini coaching sessions, a lot of things will be connected and a lot of things will be tied in together. So a lot of this will become a lot clearer as we follow along, or as you follow along and as I go along with the mini coaching sessions. So moving along to the quote of the week, it was, knowledge is power and self-knowledge is a superpower. So I've heard this term, knowledge is power, many times in my life. And it's something I totally agree with. Knowledge, being knowledgeable on something is being powerful with it, or being powerful over it. And I definitely have seen the value of that term many times in my life. And I added on the bit then, self-knowledge is a superpower, because knowledge is great, and knowledge about different things is great. But I have found in my life the best knowledge that I have ever learned is self-knowledge. So basically getting to know myself has been super powerful for me. So that's where I came up with that quote. And when I started personal development well over 15 years ago, or working on my personal development, I didn't know who I was or what I was about. I had an idea, in terms of where I wanted to go in life, and that was grand, but I didn't, and I had an idea of what my personality was like, but I didn't know what my behaviour patterns were. I didn't fully know what my beliefs were. I wasn't taking notice of my mindset. I was very, very focused on my outside reality, which more often than not was very chaotic. And my pattern of life at the time was kind of one drama or trauma. I was going from one to another. And it was kind of a never-ending cycle. But when I started to get to know myself, and I started realising, okay, so I have this behaviour pattern, and that's leading me to get into situations like this, which is leading to chaos or drama or whatever, then I would start pulling back, and I would start assessing and reflecting, okay, how did that go? I've learned this lesson, and now I'll move forward with that. And, that was massively transformational for me, and has led to a very, very peaceful life, thankfully. Still have the odd ups and downs, which everybody does, and that's part of life, but it's nothing like what it used to be, and thankfully that is something I'm very grateful for. So yeah, self-knowledge is fantastic. It is very powerful. It takes a bit of time to build it. It takes a bit of effort, but it is well worth it. And you can do that by looking at the different prompts that I can give you over the next time, over this series, we'll say. So that was the quote of the week. And finally, the questions to make you think. So the questions to make you think was, who or what are you giving away your power to? And that was tied in with the empowerment value. Again, it's tied in with your personal power. So you could be giving your power away in many different ways. You could be giving it over to a person and letting them treat you in a way that you don't find acceptable, but you kind of go along with it anyway. Obviously, there's something kind of leveraging that situation, and they're all the kind of things that you should look into if that's the case, because really personal power comes from within. It comes from deciding within that you are valuable, and you're valuable enough to stand up for yourself, and you're valuable enough to take action on a situation where somebody is treating you in a way that you don't like or you don't accept. Sorry, I'm getting lost there now. So giving away your power, yeah. So it could be giving it away to a person. It could be giving it away to a situation. So maybe a situation that's causing you continuous anxiety, and that you're giving a lot of your time away to, and a lot of your mind set and a lot of your thoughts and beliefs even, that's giving away your power to that situation. And how we take that back is realizing, okay, or checking out, is there something that I can do about this right now? Is there an action that I can take to change this right now? If there is, try to figure out what that is. If there isn't, then it's about pulling back and saying to yourself, okay, this is not within my control at the moment. I'm going to take my power back from that situation and I'm going to direct it into something that I would prefer to direct it into. That's very much taking your power back from that situation and directing your focus into something that is going to bring you value, as opposed to that which is not in your control. People, situations, your mind is a big one. It's one that I go into in my coaching program, Life Changers. So specifically the ego mind, so your thoughts. Your ego mind is made up of your thoughts and your beliefs, and it's the monkey brain, it's the chatter that goes on in your mind. That's your ego. And an awful lot of people give their power away to their ego every single minute of the day. They're just not aware that you can step back, you can return to the present moment, and you can realize that you are not your thoughts. You're a lot more than that. And people don't realize as well that you can't, what I say to people is, you can't control your thoughts as such. Your thoughts are a reaction to your beliefs, your emotions, and everything that's going on outside you in your outside environment. But you can definitely direct the focus of your thoughts. So we'll say, for example, if I'm going through something that's causing me a bit of anxiety, and anxiety being an emotion, by the way, I would then try to figure out, right, what's really going on here? Is this within my control? And can I do something about it? Can I take an action? If not, that's fine. So I try to accept the situation as it is, and I say to myself, right, I will, once I can take an action on that, I'll do that. For the moment, I'm going to try and relax. I'm going to redirect my focus into something that I care about, or something that, I find distracting or enjoyable, or or I talk it out with somebody that's close to me that I feel is a support to me. There's lots of different ways that you can redirect your focus from something that is, that you're giving away your power to. I'm after getting lost now. I was talking about the ego mind and giving that away. So basically, the ego mind can control you, not control you, but you can get lost in it. It can take over your daily life, it can take over your mindset, and there's no awareness going on, there's no observations of what you're predominantly thinking about. And I found, when I started taking a step back and monitoring my thoughts, just observing them, not forcing them in any way or trying to change them, that the more I did it, the more I was able to become aware of them. And initially, when I started doing that, I realised, holy shit, how negative my thoughts were. How I spoke to myself horribly. How my beliefs were so limiting. It was a real eye-opener when I really started observing what I was predominantly thinking about every day. And that's when things started to change. Then I started redirecting the focus of my thoughts, and I started talking to myself in a much kinder way. So, and I even find sometimes if I make a mistake, that pattern of, what would you call it? That pattern of beating myself up is still there. It can be so ingrained within us that it still comes up for me. And I'd be quite good at trying to redirect my thoughts, but even still that pattern is still ingrained within me, that it still comes up the odd time. But now I catch it, and I redirect then, and I try to be kind to myself in that. So people, giving away your power to people, giving your power away to situations, and giving your power away to your ego mind. Just to reiterate about the ego mind, you can take your power back by observing your thoughts, by redirecting the focus of your thoughts into something that you do value. And basically building your self-awareness is going to really help with all of that. So I think that's it for today. If you're finding that you don't have time to look into the different questions on the day that they're posted, what I do is I create a little folder for myself for things that I come back to later on Instagram that I know will, add a bit of value to my life. So you could create a little folder and save the bits for later if you want. And I think that's pretty much it. I hope you get value out of it. It's something I've actually, I wasn't not looking forward to doing this. I was, but I think with social media, it's it can be a harsh place at times. It can be a judgmental place at times. And I think when you're putting yourself out there like this, it can definitely be a challenge. But I have to say, I've really, really enjoyed putting everything together this week and, summing everything up. And I really hope that you get the value from it. And if you've any questions, please pop me a message. I'd be delighted to chat. So that's it for today. Have a lovely Sunday.